Alright, what is up, you guys? We are here with a special SummerSlam review. I've been doing all these SummerSlams, and I've been trying to have some guests on. But here we have SummerSlam 2001 with my special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
This is your host with the most, Ghost, from the Relaxing Ghost channel.
Obviously, go check his videos out. So, SummerSlam 2001, August 19th, 2001. This was in the middle of the Invasion storyline. What are your kind of beginning thoughts on this pay-per-view?
It's kind of a mixed bag for me. I love the Invasion overall, but for this SummerSlam, I thought the main events were strong, but the beginning of the show was good. It seemed like they were kind of tying up loose ends with all the championships and kind of getting ready to get rid of some of those things.
Yeah, we had a lot of, unification matches around this time, getting rid of all the WCW belts.
Right.
And, of course, we'd see the World Heavyweight title be reintroduced a few years later. But we did actually have the WCW Championship as your main event, which actually is surprising that they would do that.
Yeah, first time, one of the only times it main evented a pay-per-view, which was really cool to see. And this was the Rock's big return since WrestleMania 17 as well. So,
yeah. For me personally, I feel like this pay-per-view, I was never the biggest fan of this pay-per-view, to be honest. It has some good matches. Jeff Hardy and Rob Van Dam's a good match. Stone Cold and Kurt Angle's a good match. But it feels like this pay-per-view is way overbooked. That's always been my problem with it. Like, there's just too much going on at once.
Yeah, way too much. Things kind of get lost at times, right? And very short matches as well.
Yeah, I mean, we have a good number of matches on here. But Lance Storm versus Edge, I thought was decent for the Intercontinental Championship. You had the six-man tag team match, Dudley Boyz and Test versus APA and Spike. And, of course, we have Tajiri versus X-Pac for the Cruiserweights versus the Light Heavyweight Championship. So there you have that one.
Yeah, so this is where they unified the Cruiserweight with the Light Heavyweight. They inherited the Cruiserweight and got rid of the Light Heavyweight and never went back to it.
Yeah, I mean, that was always kind of their answer to the Cruiserweight title anyway.
Yeah.
So it's really, I always thought the Light Heavyweight belt was kind of unneeded when you already had the Intercontinental and everything. And like I said, Jeff Hardy versus Rob Van Dam, Hardcore Championship ladder match. I always enjoyed this match. It's kind of it's almost like a dream match in a way.
And JR actually kind of flubs a few lines during this pay-per-view. I don't know if he forgot, but he said this is the first ladder match for the Hardcore title, which is wrong. They did have one like way back in '98. So I don't know if he just forgot or he was unaware or whatever, but some small detail.
Or someone could just fed him the line wrong, to be honest.
Yeah.
We have Chris Jericho versus Rhino with Stephanie McMahon-Helmsley.
Yeah, and this was cool. This was when he gored him through the SmackDown set around that time, right? And this had some big build to it. Again, I'm not really a fan of, shoving Stephanie in a lot of these storylines, but she was the kind of owner, whatever, of ECW. And this was her, her heavy going in for Chris Jericho. But I don't think Stephanie needed to be out there for that one, but
there's a lot of overbooking that didn't need to happen here.
Yeah.
It's just, I think that's something that really brought this pay-per-view down for me. There's so many interferences, just so much going on, so many run-ins. We even had a lot of backstage stuff, which was actually kind of cool. But
yeah.
speaking of being overbooked, I want to talk about the Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kurt Angle match for the WWF Championship, which was your co-main event. This just felt... I thought, the first portion of the match was really good. And
very good.
And then the ending is just so convoluted, and it just kind of takes you out of it.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 referees getting knocked out, and then Angle has the match won, and then Patrick just calls for the DQ. Angle does kick out of 3 stunners, and he's just a bloody mess. Very very well done. I liked how it was done, but they did go a little bit too far, like you said.
Yeah. I mean, this pay-per-view really captured the invasion angle very well. And it also captured the negatives of the invasion angle very well as well.
Yeah.
And I actually really liked the invasion pay-per-view. I know you like it as well.
Yeah.
I just don't think this is a good way to follow that.
No, it seems like they kind of buried them, right? If you look at this show compared to the prior month, hardly no WCW guys won their matches. X-Pac won, Edge won, Taker and Kane won. Austin kind of wins, but he's a WWF guy. So it's kind of one-sided at this point. No real star power. And the commentary, let's talk about that as well with Heyman and JR.
JR always said he was at his best at times when Paul Heyman was by his side because he frustrated him so much. Yeah. And
it was legit,
Yeah. He's always said WrestleMania 17 was one of his best calls because Paul Heyman was right there beside him. And they always had really good chemistry, but in a realistic way.
Right. Yeah, that some of my favorite is, just hearing those two going back and forth. The small bickering you hear between them is just awesome.
It's almost like Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan with the bickering.
Yep.
You just have that dynamic, and it works so well.
Right.
And I always like hearing Paul Heyman on commentary.
Yeah, I thought he did great.
So, your main event obviously was Booker T and The Rock for the WCW title. What were your thoughts on Booker T at this time?
I thought he came in pretty strong. He had that thing at King of the Ring. He takes out Austin. Very strong impact on the first night. But he really didn't do much after that. He loses the title at some point to Kurt Angle for a short period of time before regaining it. And then, he's just kind of a stepping stone for a lot of guys, putting a lot of guys over. I always liked Booker T, but I thought they kind of did him wrong here.
I mean, Sting has often, he said a few times that the treatment of Booker T was what caused him not to ever come to the WWF.
Right.
So I think that really speaks volumes there. I mean, I've never been the biggest Booker T fan.
Right.
But I don't know. I felt if you're bringing in all this talent, treat them good, And it just almost felt like this was, this whole angle was just another way of Vince saying, I won.
Yeah. And they put The Rock over in dramatic fashion, Booker T never even really got a chance to defend his title besides that one time on Raw, which was just a train wreck. you know.
I mean, to have The Rock come back after all this time.
Yeah.
In just this fashion, I just think was disrespectful.
Yeah. I always kind of look down at this SummerSlam just for that reason. I don't think Rock needed the WCW title. And just kind of looks strange, in the WWF camp.
Yeah. And I've always said the invasion angle is probably the biggest missed opportunity in
Yeah.
WWE history. Like, it could have been so much better. And I'm not saying you needed, like, Goldberg and Sting. Just do something creative with the talent that you had brought in.
Yeah. You
You
have to
have,
make the guys look good before you kind of bring them back down. And they didn't really do that. They just kind of beat them all down at once and never really recovered.
and speaking of, I want to get your thoughts on this one, the DDP Stalker Angle.
Yeah. I was actually really surprised that it was DDP. This was going back before King of the Ring, right? And then
Yeah.
everyone thought it was Kane for some reason when I think back to it. And it was shocking, yeah, but it was always done in poor taste. I never liked it. And then DDP, just gets several beat downs week after week, month after month. Yeah, he's the tag team champion here, but he's looked embarrassing again in this cage match. This was a weird match here. And Taker and Kane win the WCW and WWF tag titles here in dominant fashion.
Yeah, dominant it
DDP
is.
was,
Yeah.
the people's champion in WCW. He was a pretty big deal, 2 or 3 time world champion, US champion. He was a top guy there, built from almost nothing. I think he had a lot of credibility to him. Same with Booker T. And putting this gimmick on him wasn't the right call.
Yeah, I think this is awful. Like, just even DDP has come out and said he just hated this angle, and it's just strange. Like, it just
Yeah.
didn't make sense. Like, what sense did this make?
And
Like,
look at his wife, Kimberly, and look at Sarah.
yeah, none of it made sense.
No, that'd be a gimmick for like Sean Stasiak or someone like that, or even Canyon, but not DDP.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Kanyon obviously was involved here, so just have him be that, just.
Yeah.
But as we always do here on this channel, give a letter grade. What would you give this pay-per-view as a letter grade?
Overall, for me, it's pretty enjoyable. I would say give it a watch if you haven't seen it before, but match by match, I would say it's not the best. I would go, probably a C plus or a B minus. I would recommend it, but not by much.
Yeah, I was gonna say a C.
Yeah.
I just didn't really enjoy this pay-per-view as much as you really should have.
Yeah. It has its highs and it has its lows. I liked Edge also winning the IC title. He just won King of the Ring. They were building to him versus Christian, which was always cool to see. I was a fan of that. So it has its ups and downs, but I think the alliance here just kind of got buried.
Yeah, and like I said, I just felt like it was overbooked and convoluted, and just to the point where it took it too far in so many places, and really didn't add much to the invasion angle. I mean, I loved Survivor Series 2001.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite pay-per-views. So
Unforgiven the next month is a hell of a show as well.
So when you put all this beside, when you put SummerSlam beside a lot of the other 2001 pay-per-views, I feel like it's in the weaker tier.
Yeah, it's not the best of 2001.
No. But I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Of course, go check out his channel, and we will be back for SummerSlam 2000. So for now, hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out.
Peace.